I remember the exact moment I proposed to Marissa 6 years ago. We were standing on Santa Monica Beach at sunset, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. Her eyes sparkled when she said yes, and I believed with every fiber of my being that she was the woman I would spend forever with. I thought I knew what forever meant. Now, standing in our empty kitchen, holding the finalized divorce papers in my hands, that memory feels like it belonged to someone else. The echo of her voice still rings in my ears, sharp and cruel. I could have settled for someone better. Those words cut deeper than any knife ever could. But now, she would learn who really settled. Before I tell you how everything fell apart, I want to know. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below. If you have ever felt like you were not good enough for someone, hit that like button. You are not alone. And subscribe, because this story has a twist that even I did not see coming at first. Now, let me take you back to where it all started to crumble. Marissa and I had been married for 5 years when things began to change. On paper, we looked like the perfect couple. Both of us worked hard. I was a software engineer at a decent tech company in Los Angeles, and she was a marketing manager at a mid-sized firm downtown. Our life together had a comfortable rhythm. We would wake up together, make coffee side by side in our small kitchen, talk about our plans for the day. On weekends, we would cook elaborate meals together, watch movies on the couch, and talk about buying a bigger house someday. We had not started a family yet. We both agreed we wanted to wait a few more years until we were more financially stable. Looking back, maybe that was a mistake. But at the time, I thought we were building something solid. I loved her. God, I loved her with everything I had. I worked long hours to make sure we could afford the life she wanted. When she mentioned wanting new furniture, I picked up freelance projects on the side. When she talked about a vacation to Hawaii, I saved every extra dollar. I thought that was what husbands did. You sacrificed. You provided. You made your wife happy. I remember those quiet nights when she would rest her head on my shoulder while we watched television, and she would whisper, "You are my safe place." I felt like the luckiest man alive. But then, about 8 months before everything exploded, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. Marissa began working late more often. 3, sometimes 4 nights a week, she would text me, saying she had a big project, a tight deadline, an important client meeting that ran over. I believed her, without question. Why would I not? She was ambitious. She cared about her career. I admired that about her. I even started bringing dinner to her office on those late nights, thinking I was being supportive. She would smile, thank me, kiss me on the cheek, and send me home. I should have known then. But I trusted her completely. Around the same time, I noticed she was putting more effort into her appearance. She started wearing makeup that was heavier, more dramatic. Her work clothes became more form-fitting, more revealing. She changed her hairstyle, going from her usual simple ponytail to loose waves that cascaded down her shoulders. When I asked about it, she brushed it off. "I need to look professional for these big clients, Bennett. Image matters in marketing." It made sense. So I swallowed my unease and said nothing. Her phone habits changed too. She used to leave it on the kitchen counter face up without a second thought. Now she carried it everywhere. Into the bathroom. Into the bedroom. She would place it face down on tables. When it buzzed, she would glance at the screen quickly, then slip it into her pocket. I caught myself wondering who she was texting so much, but I pushed the thought away. I was not that kind of husband. I did not snoop. I did not question. I trusted. By the second and third month of this new pattern, the emotional distance between us grew wider. The little things that used to bind us together started to disappear. No more morning coffee together. She would wake up earlier than me, shower, dress, and leave before I even got out of bed. On weekends, when I suggested we do something together, she would say she was too tired, that she needed space, or that she was meeting friends from work. Friends I had never heard her mention before. Our sex life, which had never been the most passionate, but had always been warm and consistent, dwindled to almost nothing. Once every 2 weeks became once a month, became almost never. When I tried to initiate, she would turn away. I have a headache. I am exhausted. Can we not tonight? I started to feel like I was living with a stranger. I tried everything I could think of to reconnect with her. I cooked her favorite meals. I suggested date nights. I bought tickets to a concert she had mentioned wanting to see. But every attempt was met with irritation. Can you stop trying so hard, it is suffocating? That was what she said when I planned a surprise candlelit dinner on a Friday night. Suffocating. The word stung. I was just trying to love my wife, and somehow that had become too much. By the 4th month, we had our first real fight. A bad one. I finally worked up the courage to suggest couples therapy. I told her I felt like we were drifting apart, that I missed her, that I wanted us to work on our marriage before it was too late. Her reaction was explosive. "We do not need therapy. You need to stop being so needy," she yelled at me. Her face flushed with anger. I tried to reason with her. I am your husband. Wanting to spend time with you is not being needy. But she would not hear it. "Maybe I need space from being your wife for a while." The words hung in the air like poison. Then she grabbed her purse and stormed out of the apartment. I heard her car engine start, and she did not come home until after midnight. I lay awake that entire night, staring at the ceiling, feeling something inside me crack. I knew something was deeply wrong. I just did not know how wrong yet. And then things got worse. Much worse. The 5th and 6th months were unbearable. Marissa stopped even pretending to be civil. The mask came off, and what I saw underneath was cruelty I had never imagined she was capable of. She started openly criticizing me, my job, my appearance, my worth as a man. One night, while we were eating dinner in silence, she looked up from her phone and said, "Derek makes twice what you make, and he has only been at the company 3 years. Derek. That was the first time I heard his name. "A coworker," she said casually, as if comparing my salary to another man's was a normal thing for a wife to do. Then came the comments about my body. "You have let yourself go, Bennett. When was the last time you went to the gym?" I looked down at myself. I had gained maybe 10 pounds over the years. Nothing dramatic. But the way she said it made me feel disgusting. So I signed up for a gym membership. I started running every morning before work. I bought new clothes. I tried to be the man she seemed to want. But it was never enough. She barely noticed. Or worse, she noticed and did not care. "It is too late to try now," she said once, not even looking up from her phone. She stopped sleeping in our bed. She moved to the couch, claiming I snored too loudly. She stopped eating the meals I cooked, saying she was not hungry, or that she had already eaten at work. I started to feel invisible in my own home, like I was a ghost haunting the life I used to have. Then came the night everything shattered. It was a Saturday, late. I had stayed home while Marissa went out with friends from the office. At least, that was what she told me. I fell asleep on the couch waiting for her. I woke up to the sound of the front door opening. It was 2 a.m. She stumbled in her heels, in her hand, her hair messy, smelling like alcohol and something else. A cologne I did not recognize. A man's cologne. I sat up. "Where were you?" My voice was calm, but my heart was pounding. She looked at me with glassy eyes swaying slightly. "Out. I told you. With friends." Her words slurred together. I stood up and walked closer. "Marissa, it is 2 a.m. I was worried." She laughed. A harsh, bitter sound. "Worried? You are always worried, Bennett. You are always hovering. I just need space." I felt something inside me break. "I am not hovering. I am your husband. I am worried about us. I feel like I am losing you." That was when her face twisted into something ugly. Something I had never seen before. "You want to know the truth? Fine. I am tired of this." She threw her purse onto the floor. "I could have settled for someone better. Someone who actually has ambition. Someone who makes me feel alive." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stood there, frozen, unable to breathe. She kept going, her voice rising. Marrying you was the biggest mistake I ever made. She grabbed a pillow from the couch and hurled it across the room. Her face was red, her hands were shaking, and tears were streaming down her cheeks. But they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of rage. Rage at me, for existing, for loving her, for not being enough. I could not speak. I could not move. I just stood there as she stormed past me into the bedroom and slammed the door. I heard the lock click, and I sat down in the dark living room, feeling like my chest had been ripped open. I did not sleep that night. I just sat there replaying her words over and over. I could have settled for someone better. Marrying you was the biggest mistake. When morning came, she left early without saying a word. No apology, no explanation. She just left. And I knew in that moment that I had to find out the truth. If she regretted marrying me this much, there had to be a reason, and I was going to find it. I started with the phone bill. We were on a shared family plan, so I had access to the account. I pulled up the records and felt my stomach drop. Hundreds of texts and calls to one number. A number I did not recognize. All at odd hours. Late at night. Early in the morning. During her lunch breaks. I cross-referenced the dates with the nights she claimed to be working late. They matched. Next, I checked our joint credit card statements. My hands shook as I scrolled through the charges. Expensive dinners at restaurants we had never been to together. A hotel, multiple times, the same hotel. Always on nights, she said she was working late. The evidence was right there in front of me, and I felt like I was going to be sick. I called Kyle, my best friend from college. We had known each other for 15 years, and he was the only person I could trust with this. I told him everything. The distance, the cruelty, the late nights, the phone records, the hotel charges. He listened without interrupting, and when I finished, he said, "Bro, you need proof. Real proof. Talk to a lawyer first. Do not confront her until you have everything lined up." So that is what I did. I made an appointment with a divorce attorney named Mr. Harrison. He was in his 50s, sharp-eyed and direct. He listened to my story and nodded. "You need concrete evidence if you want this to go smoothly," he said. "In California, adultery does not affect asset division much, but it affects everything else. Your reputation, your peace of mind." "Do you have access to her phone?" I told him I did not. "It is always locked." He leaned back in his chair. "The phone is under both your names, correct?" I nodded. "Then legally, you can install monitoring software. It is not pretty, but it is legal." I wrestled with the decision for days. It felt like a violation. But then I remembered her words. I could have settled for someone better. I remembered the cruelty, the lies, and I made my choice. One morning, she left her phone on the bathroom counter while she showered. I installed the app in under 2 minutes. Then, I hired a private investigator, someone Mr. Harrison recommended. The next 3 weeks were the longest of my life. I went through the motions. I went to work. I came home. I smiled when I needed to. But inside I was dying. Marissa barely acknowledged my existence. She came and went as she pleased, and I said nothing. I was waiting. Then the investigator called. "I have what you need. Meet me tomorrow." The next day, he handed me a folder. Inside were photos. Marissa and a man. Derek, I assumed. They were outside a hotel, his arm around her waist. Another photo showed them kissing in a parking lot. A third showed them entering a hotel room together, the timestamp matching one of the nights she said she was working late. But the worst part was the messages. The app I installed had captured everything. Texts between her and Derek, hundreds of them. "I cannot wait to leave him. You make me feel things he never could. Soon, we will be together." And from Derek, "Once I finalize my divorce, we can be open about this." He was married too. They were both planning to blow up their marriages for each other. I sat in my car outside the investigator's office and stared at the photos. I waited for tears, for anger, for something. But all I felt was a cold, hollow emptiness. And then slowly, a sense of clarity. She wanted someone better, and let me show her what better really means. I spent the next 2 weeks planning everything, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. I worked closely with Mr. Harrison to finalize everything. The divorce papers were drawn up. In California, we had a community property state, which meant assets would be split 50-50, regardless of fault. But fault still mattered in other ways. It mattered to me. It mattered for my dignity. I was not going to walk away quietly, while everyone thought I was the failure in this marriage. I printed everything. Over 300 text messages, spanning 3 months. Photos from the investigator. Credit card statements showing charges to hotels and restaurants. I organized it all into a neat folder backed up digitally in 3 separate places. Mr. Harrison reviewed everything and nodded approvingly. This is airtight. She cannot deny any of it. Then I planned the reveal. I did not just want to hand her divorce papers in private and move on. She had humiliated me for months, told me I was not good enough, made me feel worthless in my own home. Now everyone would know the truth. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because I wanted people to stop looking at me like I was the one who failed. The night I chose was a Friday. Marissa was getting ready to go out. Another late meeting, she said. I knew better. She was in the bathroom putting on makeup, wearing a tight black dress that I had never seen before. I walked in and stood in the doorway. We need to talk. She did not even look at me. Not now. I am late. I placed a manila envelope on the counter next to her makeup bag. You do not have to go anywhere tonight. Derek can wait. I watched her freeze. Her hand holding an eyeliner stopped midair. Slowly, she turned to look at me. Her face went pale. What are you talking about? I opened the envelope and pulled out the papers. Divorce papers. Then, I laid out 3 photos. Her and Derek outside the hotel, kissing, entering a room together. Then, I placed a printed text message on top. The one where she wrote, I cannot wait to leave him. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked at the evidence, then at me, then back at the photos. This is not what it looks like. Her voice was barely a whisper. I almost laughed. Do not insult me more than you already have. She grabbed the edge of the counter, her knuckles white. You spied on me. That is illegal, I shook my head. No. The phone is under both our names. Completely legal. My lawyer confirmed it. She stared at me, and I saw panic flash across her face. Then anger. So what, you are going to leave me? I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness. Just cold resolve. No. You are going to sign these papers. And then you are going to face everyone. Her eyes widened. What do you mean, everyone? I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You will see. I had already prepared the email. I had spent hours writing it, making sure it was clear, factual, and calm. No dramatics. Just the truth. The subject line read, The truth about Marissa. In the body, I explained that we were divorcing due to her 6-month affair with a coworker. I attached the photos, the text messages with explicit parts blurred, and the timeline of events. The recipient list included her parents, Patricia and Robert, her younger sister Jessica, her aunts, uncles, cousins, her close friends, and a few select coworkers who I knew were part of her inner circle. I did not send it to her entire office. I was not trying to destroy her career, just her lies. I pulled out my phone and showed her the draft email. Her eyes scanned it, growing wider with each second. Then I pressed send. Right in front of her. No. No, 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 no. She lunged for my phone, but it was too late. The email was already gone. Her phone started buzzing immediately. She grabbed it off the counter with shaking hands. Her mother was calling. Then her sister. Text messages started flooding in. Is this true? Oh my God, Marissa. How could you? She crumpled to the floor, her phone falling from her hand. How could you do this to me? Her voice cracked. I looked down at her. How could I? You spent 6 months lying, cheating, and telling me I was not good enough. You humiliated me every single day. You told me you regretted marrying me. Now your family knows why this marriage is ending. Her phone kept buzzing, over and over. She did not answer any of the calls. She just sat there on the bathroom floor, sobbing. Sign the papers, Marissa. We are done. She looked up at me, mascara running down her face. Bennett, please. We can fix this. I will end things with Derek, I promise. We can go to therapy. We can start over. I shook my head. You do not get it. I do not want to fix this. I am done being not good enough for you. I left her there on the floor and walked out of the apartment. I stayed at Kyle's house that night, and for the first time in months, I slept soundly. The fallout was immediate. Within 24 hours, Marissa's entire world collapsed. Her mother called me crying. Bennett, I am so sorry. I had no idea. You did not deserve any of this. We always loved you like a son. I told her I appreciated that, but I needed space from the whole family for a while. Jessica, Marissa's sister, sent me a long text. I am disgusted with her. You were always too good for our family. Thank you for being honest. I did not respond. It was not about sides. It was about truth. Marissa's friends, the ones who actually knew what kind of person she was, cut her off. The ones who did not know started asking questions she could not answer. At work, rumors spread. She became the woman who cheated on her husband. Her reputation took a hit. As for Derek, I made sure his wife knew too. I sent her the same evidence. She filed for divorce within 48 hours and fought for full custody of their 2 kids. Derek's colleagues found out. Suddenly he was not the golden boy anymore. He was the guy who wrecked 2 marriages. His career stalled. Promotions he was in line for disappeared. And ironically, he blamed Marissa for the exposure. Their affair fell apart within a week. Marissa tried to contact me 50 times in 2 days. Calls, texts, voicemails. The messages ranged from apologies to blame to anger to desperation. I blocked her on everything. I only communicated through Mr. Harrison. She had no choice but to sign the papers. Within 2 weeks, she did. We split everything 50-50. I kept the apartment because she did not want to face the memories. She took a cash payout and moved in with a friend. The divorce was finalized in 3 months. When I held the final decree in my hands, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I did not destroy her. She destroyed herself. I just made sure everyone knew the truth. And for the first time in months, I could finally breathe. The months that followed were not easy, but they were free. The first few weeks after Marissa moved out were strange. The apartment felt too quiet. I would wake up in the middle of the night and reach for someone who was not there anymore. Not because I missed her, but because I missed the idea of not being alone. There were moments when I questioned everything. Was it my fault? Could I have done something differently? But my therapist helped me see the truth. This was not about me being not good enough. It was about her choices, her betrayal, her cruelty. I started going to therapy twice a week. It helped more than I expected. I talked about the feelings of inadequacy, the self-doubt, the anger I had buried for so long. My therapist told me something that stuck with me. You cannot love someone into respecting you. If they do not see your worth, loving them harder will not change that. It was a hard lesson, but it was true. I began to reclaim my life. I started doing things I loved that I had stopped doing because Marissa did not like them. I went hiking every Saturday morning. I picked up my guitar again and started playing after work. I read books I had been putting off. I cooked meals I enjoyed without worrying if someone else would complain. Slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Kyle became my anchor. He dragged me out of the apartment when I needed it. We went to baseball games. We played pool at the local bar. He introduced me to his girlfriend's friends, not as setups, just as people to talk to. I was not ready to date. But it was nice to remember that there were kind, genuine people in the world. Work became a refuge too. I threw myself into projects and my performance improved. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I got promoted to senior engineer with a significant raise. The irony was not lost on me. I was now making more than I ever had, more than Marissa thought I could. But it did not matter anymore. I was not trying to prove anything to her. I was just living my life. Around the 6-month mark, Jessica reached out to me. She told me that Marissa had tried to reconcile with the family, but it was slow going. Her parents were disappointed. Her friends had distanced themselves. And Derek. He wanted nothing to do with her once the affair became public. Apparently, he had told her he was never serious about leaving his wife. It was just an affair. Nothing more. Marissa was alone. Jessica asked if I wanted to talk to her. I thought about it for a long time. And then I said no. I hope she finds peace. But that is not my concern anymore. I meant it. I did not hate Marissa. I did not wish her harm. But I also did not want her in my life. She was a stranger now. A painful chapter I had closed. Jessica understood. She told me she was proud of how I handled everything, and that if I ever needed anything, she was there. I appreciated that. By the 1-year mark, I was in a completely different place. I had started casually seeing someone. Her name was Amanda. She was a graphic designer I met through a mutual friend. We took things slow. I was not in a rush. I had learned that love was not about desperation or fear of being alone. It was about partnership, respect, and genuine care. Amanda was kind. She listened. She did not play games. And most importantly, she made me feel valued. Not because I did grand gestures or gave her everything she wanted, but because she saw me, the real me. And that was enough. I learned a lot from that nightmare of a marriage. I learned that self-respect is not negotiable. You cannot let someone make you feel small, even if you love them. I learned that love without respect is just pain dressed up in prettier words. I learned that exposing the truth is not revenge. It is self-defense. I did not send that email to hurt Marissa. I sent it so people would stop asking me what I did wrong, so I could hold my head up and say, I did everything I could. She made her choice. I learned that forgiveness is complicated. I did not forgive Marissa for what she did. Maybe I never will. But I let go of the anger because carrying it was only hurting me. Letting go does not mean excusing someone's behavior. It means refusing to let their actions control your future. And I refuse to let her take one more day of my peace. If you are in a relationship where someone makes you feel like you are not enough, listen to me. You are enough. They are just not the right person. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is walking away from someone who cannot see your worth. And to anyone who has been betrayed like I was, do not let them rewrite the story. The truth is your power. Own it. Share it. Do not hide in shame for something someone else did. I thought losing Marissa would destroy me. But the truth, losing her saved me. It forced me to rebuild myself, to remember who I was, before I spent years trying to be enough for someone who would never appreciate me. I am not perfect. I still have bad days. I still feel the sting of those words sometimes. I could have settled for someone better. But now, when I hear them in my head, I smile. Because I know the truth. She is the one who settled, and she lost something real. I am Bennett, and I am finally free. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where someone made you feel like you were not enough? How did you find your way back to yourself? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have not already subscribed to this channel, there are more stories like this one, stories about survival, truth, and finding peace after betrayal. Thank you for listening. And remember, your worth is not defined by someone else's inability to see it. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.